Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about change of base. And let's just go ahead and dive into the material, okay? How many circles do you see? This is not a trick question. It's just basically how many circles do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see a total of 15 circles. All right. So we see 15 circles. Now here's the question that we got to ask is why is it that there are 15 circles? Why is it that this is circle 1 all the way you keep adding to circle number 15? And that is because that we live off of a numerical system where we work off of a numerical system that has 15, or I'm sorry, 10 fingers. All right, so let's look at this pretty simply, okay? So here's the, two human hands. Now, um, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, it may just be a math teacher and me thinking this, but the reason why that we go to all these single digits, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The reason why after 9 we start with our next number and it has double digits is because of the fact that we have 10 fingers. Okay. After the 9, then we go to 10, which means from that point we start over, we roll over into the next number series. So after 10 it'd be 11, 12, but you still work off that 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is where it's going to kind of blow your mind a little bit, and so let me apologize. But let's say we were in a world where humans only had 8 fingers. So let's scratch out Mr. Pinky Finger here. So let's say that we only lived in a world and humans were created or whatever with 8 fingers. Well, if that's the case, then the way that we would actually number everything was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In this case, the last finger would be 10. Okay, so our last finger would always be 10. So if we only had 8 fingers, that means our 8th finger would be actually 10. So we would live in a world where the 8, the 9 would never exist. These two things would not exist because of the fact that we don't have our 8th and we don't have our 9th fingers. All right, so going back to this, if we were to ask, okay, how many circles do you see? Remember, if we were humans with only 8 fingers, then if we were to start counting, then it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7. Now we have 10. So from 10 it'd be 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then 17. Now, if we were to go to our next, let's say if we had another circle right here, then this would actually be circle 20. Because our next number in reality would be 18, but remember, we live in a world where we don't have that 8, or we live under a base 8 world, so that means after 17 it'd be 20. So remember, every time you see a number 8, you roll over. Now, now since I've thoroughly confused you, let me kind of show you where we're going with this. If I had a check, let's just say if I had a check for 2,500, or a check that was written out to me for $2,543, and if I actually went to the bank and I said, I want you to cash this out, I want you to, um, give me all singles, give me all $1 bills, how many total $1 bills would I have? Well, the thing I want you to pay attention to is this little 10 here, this base 10. Now, base 10 is what we work off of always. From the moment that you guys were in elementary school to the moment, that you retire, go to that retirement age, we always run off of the base 10 rules, okay, which means we have 10 fingers, every 10th number we roll over. Now, the way we look at this is we have each place value. This is 1, 10s, 100, thousands. Everything works off of base 10, okay? So like hundreds is 10 to the second power, meaning if I took 10 squared it would give me 100. If I took 10 to the third power, it'd give me 1,000. If I took 10 to the first power, it would give me tens, or give me 10. And if I gave 10 to the zero power, it'll give me ones. And a lot of people don't realize that any number raised to the zero power is automatically 1. So what I would do is I had 2,543. All right, so I would multiply 10 to the third power first, or I would figure out what 10 to the third power, and then I'd multiply it by 2. Well, 10 to the third power is 1,000, times 2 is 2,000. Multiply 10 squared, or find out 10 squared, and then multiply it by 5, I would get 500. 10 to the first power, that would give me 40, and lastly this would give me 3. And then of course I would add all this information up, and I would get 2,543. That's the numerical system that we run off of. But let's say if we had 2,543 base 7. Now remember, in base 7 world, the 7th finger that we have, number 7 would actually be 10. There would be no 8, there would be no 9. And so we've got to figure out, if we were to convert this back to base 10, meaning what would this be under base 10 rules? How would we do that? Well, do you notice how under base 10, all place values add a 10? So like 10 to the 0 power, 10 to the first power, 10 to the second. Under base 7, it's the same concept, except now they're 7s. 7 to the 0 power, 7 to the first, 7 to the second, 7 to the third. All right. So it's the same concept where we are going to write it out. That's 2,543. And so we're going to multiply 7 to the third power, multiply it by 2, and then we're going to take 7 squared, I didn't write that right, multiply by 5, 7 times 4, and then 7 0 times 3. And what we're doing is we're trying to convert it back to base 10. So if we were to do that really quick, 7 to the third power times 2 is 686, and of course I went ahead and multiplied all this out, and I added it all up to where I got 962. So 2,543 under base 7 would represent, or end up being, 962 base 10. Now remember, base 10 is what we work off of. All right, let's try another one. All right, the next one that we're going to work off of is 543 base 6. Now, if you want to go ahead and pause the video and so you can figure everything out. So go ahead and pause it right now, so I won't be giving you any questions, or any answers, that is. All right, hopefully you've already figured it out. So let's work this out here. So this would be 6 to the 0 power. Now, you don't have to do this every time. 6 to the first power. 6 to the second power. Now I'm just drawing this out just so you guys can see a visual, but what I might do as I'm getting more familiar with this is, rather than actually writing out my 3 blanks, I might just say, okay, this is 6 to the 0 power, right above it this is 6 to the first power, and this is 6 to the second power. I may just do that. That might just be a pretty simple, safe, space saving, time saving procedure. All right, 543. So I'm going to take 6 squared and then multiply by 5. Okay, that's 180. This would be 24, and this would be 3. So if I was to add all this together, I believe that is 207. So that's how you convert things at different bases to base 10. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you for watching.